Hey, what's up, guys? I am sitting down talking with Kim Peterson. She's our district chair for the Rainier District here in Pacific Harbors Council. And we're going to talk about your council commissioners, uh, the different commissioners within the council, because I found that most people, unless they actually work in the different levels outside of the local unit, your pack, your troop, don't know what a commissioner is and likely hasn't even met a commissioner. Kim, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Rick. How are you doing? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on. So, Kim, you're our district commissioner. So let's talk about uh, the different commissioners because you're district commissioner. I'm an assistant council commissioner
hmm
um, for Roundtable. So what are the different levels of commissioners that we have here, or the different commissioners that our scouters would encounter?
Right. So the most likely commissioner that scouters are going to encounter is the unit commissioner. And the unit commissioner is there that helps, as the name suggests, the units, whether it's a pack, a troop, it could be a crew, a ship, and even we have explorer commissioners too. So you're going to see that unit commissioner there participating, maybe they get invited to a crossover or they get invited to court of honors or anything else that the unit will invite them to. They'll be there participating with them. From the unit commissioner, then it moves up to more at the district level. I have an assistant district commissioner who happens to be Holly Reese. And then I have 3 roundtable assistant district commissioners too. So the roundtable, as you well know, since you're doing roundtable for us at the council level, they help put our roundtable program together. And then it goes to me. And then from me at the district level, it goes on to the council commissioner, and Rick happens to be our council commissioner, Rick Waterman. So he more or less is my boss.
And so one thing too, you had mentioned you have the assistant district commissioners. At the council level, we have, I think, 9 assistant council commissioners. And every one of these assistant district or council commissioners has their own area of emphasis as well, correct?
That is correct. And for us in Rainier, that is something that is evolving and we're figuring it out based upon the needs of our units and the needs of our district too. So Holly's job is evolving and we're figuring it out together.
Yeah, so for the council level, like I said, we have Rich Waterman. You mentioned he's our council commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
We have myself. I'm the assistant council commissioner for Roundtable. Ron Hell, who also happens to be the Rainier district chair, is our assistant council commissioner for training. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when you get higher up, you have all these different subsets, areas of emphasis, I guess, if you will, and they all have a different role. So I'm actually looking right now at some of the training for commissioners, Kim, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, the 3 types of commissioners that there are. Unit commissioners, which is really going to be our emphasis, I think, and then we have roundtable commissioners, and then there's also the administrative commissioner. What kind of work does the administrative commissioner kind of worry and focus on?
Right now for me, I kind of focus in on every areas just for the nature. I have about 22 commissioners total in Rainier District, and they're all phenomenal, wonderful people, but we could always use more people. And so since we're short on people, then I also take on other roles, not just purely administrative. I help out in other areas too. So my role right now may not be the most idyllic because, like I said, I fill in many different roles. It's just not purely administrative.
Okay, awesome. So let's focus on the unit commissioner,
Okay.
because, like I said, for the most part, that's who our scouters and scouts and family members are going to interact with, or if they're lucky enough to be able to meet their commissioner.
Right.
What kind of role does the unit commissioner have within the unit?
So one thing that the unit commissioner, they are not, I don't want to put this, that they're not a member of the unit per se in terms of, they don't take on duties and say, I'll do this or I'll do that. They're more taking on an advisor role. Maybe if you think about if you're in school, in high school or in college, you have an advisor who guides you, who provides you information, resources, gives you things to think about, maybe approaching a situation this way or approaching a situation that way. That's one of the functions of a unit commissioner. The way I always think of unit commissioners, because it's really our role is vital, but it's one that many people don't know about, as you've already said. And I always think about the unit commissioner as down at the Cub Scout level, thinking about the den chief. And so the den chief is always there helping out either the pack at the den meetings or possibly, even with the Webelos helping out at that level. And then when you go to Scouts BSA, there's always the troop guide in some units who have a troop guide. And the troop guide role is really to help out the new scouts, figure out how does the troop function, what are the different things and roles that people do in that troop, and also helping them get to first class. So that's kind of the commissioner. The unit commissioner is really the adult version of a troop guide. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it actually does. Now, so there's a lot of really good training out there for commissioners, and I'm actually looking at it right now, some of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the commissioner areas of focus that we like to really worry about. And I disagree with the order they have that's coming out of the national program. I think supporting unit growth and retention, they have as a first bullet point. It's important, but I don't agree that that's the most important piece. I think linking unit needs would be the most important, most crucial piece on that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that piece?
So growth and retention obviously is important, and linking needs. It's also, sometimes it's hard to put those in a hierarchical priority list because, they're all right there at the same level. If growth and retention is really helping out the unit with their needs, maybe, for example, they need to be helping with recruiting. Well, there's a need, and that need is also tied into growth and retention, because if you're not having a successful recruiting program, then you're not able to grow. So I think for hierarchical priorities, they're right all on the same level, but maybe for PowerPoint bullets, they need to be put in that order. That's just my take on it.
Okay, so so let's say, for example, just from my own experience as a commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
unit has problems with leaders who aren't following youth protection guidelines. We'll just say that as a broad example.
Okay.
What kind of assistance would a pack or a troop be able to expect from the commissioner in that kind of a situation?
It depends, it depends on how many times the unit has talked to that individual about their YPT training. One nice thing that they always have to back up with too is that when it comes time to rechartering, everybody needs to be current on their YPT training. And if they're not, then the unit can't recharter. So, hopefully it does not go down to that last resort there. But if they need to have that conversation with that individual about YPT training, if that's still not working, then bring in that unit commissioner, because we're always the third person objective in the room, and maybe there's an issue going on with YPT training for that individual. Maybe they can't do it at home because their internet is not functioning very well. And so maybe they just don't like doing the training line. So then that's when the unit commissioner would come back to me and say, hey, Kim, we need to have a in-person YPT training. And then I would go to the training chair and say, hey, we need units who would like to have an in-person YPT training. When can we set one up? So really just helping them kind of get to the heart of what the matter is in this situation with the YPT training. And if it's just a matter of I'd rather do it in person, then we'll find a way to get that person their in-person training, minus where we're at right now with COVID-19.
Right. Okay, I really like that. And I like your analogy of the den chief or the troop guide. My analogy has always been, I'm a friend of the unit.
Yeah. Hmm.
And when I introduce myself to new families, that's exactly how I describe myself. They say, when they ask, "Who are you?" I'm the unit commissioner. Well, what's that? I'm kind of a friend of the unit. I'm the
Hmm.
guy that you don't see very often, but I'm always
Right.
around if you need anything. You'll see me usually at recharter time,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
and I like to be there. At courts of honor, I'm the guy
Hmm.
that likes to come in, eat the free food, and go away until you need me again. And it gets a chuckle out of it. But if you got a good unit, a good troop, or a good pack, you're not going to see your commissioner as often as, say, a unit who's struggling.
Hmm. And sometimes I think it would be good to find a good balance between that, because I just don't want it to always seem like, oh, they're having issues, here comes the commissioner. It would be nice to find a nice balance between celebrating the good and being there to support them, and just trying to find that happy medium.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is to emphasize when for commissioners is I'm not the boogeyman. When I come visit,
Exactly.
I'm not here for you to be in trouble. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I'll wear a jacket over my field uniform just so people don't see who I am.
Mm-hmm.
That way, they think, oh, he's another parent or whatever.
Right.
If I'm there just visiting, meeting with the leadership or whatever.
Exactly. And I think that's also another kind of myth about commissioners is people don't realize that we're volunteers, just like all the other scouters in the unit. We're a volunteer. That's it. So I just
Right.
want to dispel that myth. We're a
Okay.
volunteer too.
So I know you said you have 22 commissioners in your district.
Hmm.
If we have a parent or a scouter who wants to be bold and step up to join our commissioner corps, get rid of
Yeah.
blue or green shoulder loops and wear the silver with us, uh,
Yeah.
what's the best way for them to be able to jump on that board, or if they have questions?
Yeah, they can go ahead and reach out to me, contact me, or maybe they know somebody, a unit commissioner already, and they could speak with that person who would then put them in contact with me. Because the Rainier District, our commissioner corps, we always meet the first Thursday of the month, and so we could tie them easily into joining our meetings. Come try us out, see what you think. Now we've been meeting virtually for the past 2 months for April and May, so they could definitely join us virtually if they wanted to do that too. Or if they just have any questions and want to chat, just reach out to me either via email, or they could always call me too.
Okay, and they can find your email through the council webpage. I know that.
Correct. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I know commissioners don't, and like I've told you before, Kim, until I became a volunteer at the district level, I never even knew what on earth the commissioner was.
Hmm.
I'd never seen one.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
No.
so I mean, as I've been wearing the silver loops for a while now and working at the district and council levels, I see how important the commissioners are and your commissioner corps is. Um, so I don't have anything. Do you have any other points that you'd like to add?
Yeah, so one thing that I would like just to also emphasize is that as commissioners, we also just listen. And I always have to, I always want to, maybe it's just being a parent, but I always feel like I want to fix the problem, but I just need to learn to listen. And that's also a big piece that commissioners need to do, is just listen to what's going on, and then provide, ask, well, what would you really like for me to do? And then they can help connect to that resource. So maybe it's just a resource that they're needing at the district level, or maybe at the council level, and then just working it through that way. And I think, when the commissioners are meeting with units, it's just nice to have a conversation. It's just nice to say, hey, how are you doing? How are things going? And then, then that just slowly evolves. And even speaking, I think it's important that commissioners reach out and talk to the parents there at Court of Honors, for example, and most definitely the youth, because that's who we're really here for. Is we're here for the youth. It is, we want to make a great program for them, and by making it a great program for them, commissioners are there to help those adult leaders so they can deliver the best quality program possible for their scouts.
Yeah,
That's what it's
absolutely.
all about.
And meeting with the charter organization too,
Hmm.
because we're not there just for the scout program. We're there for the charter organization too. At least that's
Correct.
my take on it.
Yeah, we're there for everybody, but always making sure my focus is always on the youth, because just seeing in my own two teenage children the value of scouting that it has for them, it's amazing, and wanting to do everything to support them to have a great scouting experience.
All right. Hey, awesome. So that's been a great talk on the commissioners, Kim. Thank you very much for sitting down
You're
with us.
welcome.
And
You're welcome.
I'm sure we'll get you back on Roundtable very soon to talk about something else important.
Sounds good. And I just like to give a shout out again to all the Rainier District Commissioners. Thanks, you guys. You're awesome, and I appreciate your support. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Kim.